Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Queen City Picker and Friends show.
Whoop,
I got Todd as usual.
whoop, whoop.
I guess he's my only friend. Good morning, Cindy. I, what a rookie. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, Deb. Good morning, Todd.
Good morning. Hi, Deb. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Glenn.
Yeah, he said he's gonna catch it from work.
All right. We
But
started the show just in time for me to get a refill on my coffee. I'll be right back.
go ahead. It's been a busy morning this morning. Roberta has her quarterly blood draw today, and we were at the hospital at 6:45. Actually, about 6:35, and she was done before 7. So we were back at home by about 7:30. Good morning, chicken. And there was not a lot of traffic on the road this morning. I guess because we were so early. People in Charlotte don't get up before 10 o'clock. Um, Hope everybody's been having a good New Year so far. It's been successful. In a few minutes, we're going to talk about some new laws that's come up in North Carolina that affects reselling. The point is to protect consumers, but it's really going to, I think, well, somewhat's going to affect third-party resellers. The old, old Todd. So here's the link if anybody wants to come in. And we'll go from there. Todd's been demolishing tables, packing 100-year-old antiques.
Morning.
I told him not to get up on the table.
Yeah, I completely trashed a family heirloom. Actually, I don't think it would. I think my mom got that table like long after they got retired.
Oh, okay. Good
So,
morning, Mr. Sadie.
I mean, it's an old antique table, but it was old and antique before Mom got it.
My mom and dad, or my mom now, she's got a living room suite that she must have bought. They must have bought that thing when I was 5 or 6, which means that's been a long time ago. And she's had it covered a couple of times. And the guy that has oh sorry, Scott. Um, the guy that did the refinishing on it, or the recovering it, he said you just want to keep on recovering it. At some point, you might want to change the tone of the wood, which would require it being stripped and refinished. But he said they don't make furniture like that. It's nice and heavy. I mean, it's heavy to move around. It's like a French provincial, but that old
Yeah,
stuff is good stuff. How you doing this morning, Scott?
I'm already mad as hell. This
What are you
fucking
mad
idiot.
about this morning?
So I've talked about the guy who's copied part of the generic logo that somebody used to make. I had somebody make my logo,
Right.
and and the bearded picker and packer on eBay is what they're calling themselves. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to Fiverr, and I'm gonna have somebody create me a new logo and give them all the. So I'm looking, and I find this person that says they'll do it for $10. I'm like, all right, $10. We'll see what happens. So I give them all the information they need, and they come back and say, I can do this work for 70. I'm like, you're advertising $10. Don't come back at me. This is a brand new seller, Don't
Right.
come back at me with 70. If I wanted to spend $80 on this, I would have got somebody with 150, 200 reviews who's offering the same service, not a brand new person. Oh, I can do the job. You just wait and see. I was like, no, this is bait and switch. You offer 10, you charge 80. You need to give me my $10 back. And so I opened a refund request and a request to cancel. They immediately decline it. Folks, don't be this damn person. If you're a reseller, somebody wants to return something, just return it. You're never gonna. I don't care what you do. It's gonna be very rare that you make that person happy. You're just gonna piss somebody off, and everything that happens. I've already given this person. Now I've given them a 1-star review. Is this what they want to start out their little career? I understand that you underpriced it, but you can't put a price out there saying that would be like someone buying an item from Todd, somebody buying one of your pool filters, and you advertising it for $10 and go, well, before I ship it, you need to send me another $30 because it's because I underestimated what it's going to cost to ship this, so it's $40 for you because you live in what's far from you, Maine? Because you live in Maine.
Yeah.
No, that was just a flat $10. It didn't have like
No, it didn't have like a basic standard premium. They just have
yeah.
one. No, I saw all the ones and I should have picked one of the premium ones for like $50 because that's about what I wanted to spend. And
Well, there's people on YouTube that has done. They've wanted a logo created, and they've sent. They've gotten one person from each one of the categories to see which one you get your best value for. And he's gotten all kinds of results out of it. But being that I don't know whether you looked at that link I posted yesterday or not about the new laws in North Carolina.
no, I didn't.
It's the law says it was actually signed in June 30 of 2022 by our Governor Cooper. But let me throw this in there. We have a Republican controlled. He's a Democrat. We do have a Republican controlled House and Senate, whatever they call it in North Carolina.
And a Republican Supreme Court.
And what it is it's and I mean I understand the thoughts behind what this portion of the bill, which God, it's so long. What do I do with it? Hold on a minute. Here it is. It's called organized retail theft, and I know the reason behind it is because so many people are getting scammed. And this is the first part of what they're doing in North Carolina to try to combat it. First of all,
most of these laws are the retail lobby coming and telling people in legislature how they want it, and they have no clue, and they go, oh, okay, that sounds good, and so we end up paying for the growing pains.
Right. It says and pretty much most of this is what they already do. Online marketplaces will be required to gather information from high volume sellers that earn at least $20,000 a year on their platforms. So that includes bank account numbers, tax identification numbers, and contact information.
They already have that.
Yeah.
That's the thing that kills me is these big establishments think that we're just fly by night. Nobody knows who the hell we are. We don't pay. This is the assumption they make. You sell on an eBay or Amazon. They don't have an idea who you are. You don't pay taxes. They don't 1099 you. You just are out there. I mean, it's just so stupid.
And
The thing that chaps my rear about that is they want to make it available for the buyer to see your physical address and
yeah,
your phone number.
that's the next. That's one of the other things that I was
Physical
getting ready to get
address
to.
and your phone number. The
Yeah,
reason I got a
They,
post
they
office box for my account was
so
so
they can't
somebody
do that.
wouldn't show up on my doorstep and say, "Hey, you sent me a pile of crap."
Or try to rob
So
you
the
because they
federal
want
law
to
came out.
computer
So there's
for
no
you.
need for the. And see, the problem is the North Carolina law came out before the feds came out and took care of it. The feds threw it in the budget. Saying, talking about that, but they lowered it down to 5,000. But the
Lag.
stipulation they had is, and I don't know if North Carolina has it or not, but if you work from home, you don't have to put your address up there. You could just do city and state.
right. Well, North Carolina is tightened up on that because it does say that the third-party sellers will also be required to provide contact information and physical addresses to consumers. Sellers will also need to disclose if they received a product from another entity and be transparent about where the product came from.
So
Okay,
that's
how
I mean
many
it's
people?
drop
How many
shipping.
people except Scott buys like truckloads from manufacturers? Everything is coming from. Most people are buying from yard sales and thrift stores and auctions and that type of thing.
No, I
Um,
think I think they're talking about drop shipping. I think that's more towards drop shipping.
you think so?
Yeah,
Well,
that,
that
that sounds that sounds more like you know, if it's coming from another, if you're dropping it from somewhere else, to
right.
understand where that product comes from. Not if it comes from here, it comes from here.
Yeah, but you know how people are. It says that they have to require. They're required to disclose that information, and people are going to, they're going to beat it to death if they have a chance. But it also
Lag.
said
I've seen that.
any
But
it's
you know
not
all the dumb questions you get on do you think this pair of pants will fit my fat ass, or they're going to call you up and ask you these stupid questions. They got your phone number now. It's right there on
They'll
your listing, I guess.
They won't have my phone number. They'll have a Google number, a Google Drive number, or whatever it is. They won't have my phone number. I'll go to Walmart and buy a Straight Talk, whatever. The
yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
What is the cheapest one? Consumer Sailor at about $24 a month.
What was
You have
that
to
thing that you
sign up
used?
for a plan to use those, or it's just a pay as you
I
go.
think Consumer Sailor, which is for us old folks, I think it's month to month. It's the cheapest, I believe. Or you can get who's the one? Who's the actor who does the? His is really cheap too. What's his name? He played
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah,
Um,
Mint Mobile.
it's what
Mint.
Mint Mobile.
Mint Mobile. That's it.
But also you can just go get a track phone and put 500 minutes on it and just let her ride. If Because I don't think most
Well,
people don't talk on the telephone.
part of it's the principle of the
If I call
thing.
my family members, my children, or even my wife, they don't answer their phone.
No
If
matter
I
how
send them if
small
I
the
send them a
amount
message, they
is,
get it.
no matter how small the amount is, that's another business cost
Yeah.
So here,
to
here you go.
me.
Mint Mobile for 4 gigabytes of data, unlimited talk, text, nationwide coverage, $15 a month. So basically,
See,
with tax and everything, you're probably $20 in a month.
yeah, that's not expensive, but it's more expensive than zero.
That's correct. But
You
I'm
get
just
my
saying.
point. Yeah.
No, I 100% agree with you. But I'm just saying, if you've got to do it, there's cheap. You can get unlimited on Mint Mobile for $30.
What was
Can you
that thing
not
that? What
can you
was the
not
thing
buy
that
a
you used?
burner phone and just pay for an hour of
The problem
upfront
is if you
and
do it,
done?
if you start doing that kind of stuff, if you change your number on Amazon and their seller support calls, and you miss some of their stuff, it could be detrimental. It's not like eBay.
Right. Um,
eBay never calls. I could care less. eBay never calls.
yeah. They do everything. Do they even have a number? Everything's done online. But that's what they're requesting. And um, where did I go for it? There it is. I got so many tabs open up, and it says that any sellers that have any sellers that a marketplace finds to have violated these requirements will need to inform the seller that they have violated these conditions and will have 10 days to address the issue or be suspended from sales on their marketplace.
Hmm.
And then it all goes on to say if marketplace is found to have violated this condition, the North Carolina Attorney General may bring a civil action against the marketplace to enforce the requirements or obtain damages or restitutions for residents.
And now eBay's going to have to hire a whole new team of people to monitor this crap.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're going to pass it on to us in the form of more fees.
well, nowadays, like if you're on Craigslist, are you going to have to supply all that information to? Because
So if this went into effect, if you are a North Carolina seller, is your contact information on your eBay now?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't
Because
looked.
I wouldn't put it past eBay just to stick it on there one day and not tell you.
Right. I haven't looked. But this went into effect the first of the year.
So we need to. Who's got a North Carolina eBay account? We can go look at.
I do. Believe it or
Who on
not.
this panel, who on this panel has a North Carolina eBay account we can look at? Yeah, go look and see, Tom, if it's.
Is eBay going to notify sellers this is coming down and happening?
Probably not.
Is this a proposed bill or it got voted in?
No, this was signed into effect last June, but it didn't go into effect the first of the year.
Mm.
So Lag wants to know if I've ever got one of those "Don't Sell Our Brand" letters. There's one of them out there that keeps track of. I think it's GoPro or whoever the GoPro uses. They keep track of. This is your third warning. This is your second warning. They sent me one that said it was my third warning. I'm like, I'm selling it used, you assholes. I can sell used. Even read your own letter. It says new. You can sell this product used or whatever. I'm selling it used. Go away. And I didn't hear from them again. I could print those out and just wallpaper the building with all them don't sell letters. The hell with them folks.
I don't see any. I don't see anything.
All right, cool.
So I don't know if it shows up when if you you put like a print like a tracking, not a tracking, a package content.
Or a shipping label or an invoice.
Yeah, any of that, whether it shows up on that.
Yeah, my PO box shows up for eBay.
Now, one of the things that they're trying to address is all the scamming that's going on to try to get people, legit.
So it's a perceived problem because these damn the retail people are coming out and saying, well, it's because people are stealing from us to sell it online, and we need to do something. There's a problem they're trying to make that I don't know. It might exist. I don't know anybody that steals from retail stores to sell.
No.
If you look at California and all these, California's a great example. They're not prosecuting anybody for stealing shit. So San Francisco is just if you look at the statistics of San Francisco and how bad it is, and they might as well just drop off into the ocean now. San Francisco's so bad. You have caused part of the problem by not prosecuting petty theft. Go look at my buddy Rudy Giuliani. How did he clean up New York City? He made petty crimes and these things a priority because if you stop the little crimes, eventually you stop them all. And if you keep people from advancing in their criminal careers, if they don't start, it's asinine. Where we
Amen,
got,
amen, amen.
I'm telling you.
Well, California, San Francisco was supposed to get hit by that epic sub-zero temperatures, and they're expecting a lot of fatalities from this because they've got so many homeless people and not enough places to put them.
Make it easier to clean up the shit in the street if it's frozen.
Yeah. She, you sound like my wife. Scott, you want me to throw your name in for the Speaker of the House? You know, you don't have to
Uh,
be a member. You do not have to be a member of the House to be the Speaker of the House. So you want me to throw your name in there? You just piss off everybody.
it's because nobody wants to hear the truth.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I don't know who I was listening to, but they were talking about the statistics of year over year, the last 3 or 4 years of what's happened in San Francisco. The so the business hotel room rentals, which is when businesses come to these large cities, that's a lot of the lifeblood of some of these cities is bringing in a conference and all the money that generates. Uh, Year over year, San Francisco in the last 3 years is down like 95%. Not 10%, not 15%. No, none of these companies are taking their people because they're going to break in your car. They don't prosecute you if you break in the car. If you drive a Tesla in San Francisco, they're going to break your side window and see what's in your trunk.
Yeah.
Uh, that car will record you, your license plate, and you doing it, and the San Francisco police will go, "Oh well, oh well."
Roberta loves San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
She's been out there. She's been out there a couple of times, and it's been like, if I can get out of here, I'll be feeling good. Let me interject something right here for a minute. I want to say good morning to some folks in here. Deb, good morning. Cindy, good morning. Chicken Toad, good morning. Mr. Sadie, good morning. Oh, that bearded picker fella. Reseller, Beth, how are you doing this morning? How's your dad doing? Lag, as always.
Hey, you didn't say
Josie, thanks for hopping in here.
you skipped sample comment. Sample
Who?
comment it says sample comments
Oh,
will he shows up every broadcast. He's famous.
does he? Um, Junk Trader, good seeing you. Silver Hair Stacker, you cantankerous old son of a furniture breaking. Uh,
I only break heirlooms.
Heirlooms, that's right. Lag, I think I've got everybody now. Craig, good seeing you this morning. Blah, blah, blah. I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Good morning, Jim and Tara. It's probably Tara. Jim, she's probably got him out chopping wood. Harbor's Hope, good morning. Okay. But, something they're working on now is to make, North Carolina is to lock down on like Venmo and those kind of places that they've got to have verified information before they can operate in the state. Like if you buy something and then they run off with your money. Well, they've got to have the same information that banks have got to have.
I mean, are these people that fucking stupid? Have they not opened a Venmo account? They force you to send ID, pictures of ID, and everything else. I mean, that's the problem. Is you got so many of these people who are sitting in these legislatures who have no damn clue about how they've never had a Venmo account. They don't know how any of this works, and so they're sitting there. These governments. This is most of the stuff they do is not in their purview. They are you look at the federal government. The federal government, there's like three things they're supposed to do: provide for the defense, allow for interstate commerce, and there's one other thing they're supposed to do. That's it. And look what we've got: $172 trillion monster that the Boston Tea Party was over 3% taxation on tea. They told English to go to hell. What do you think our tax rate truly is? If the IRS takes 38 to 40%, and then you're going to add sales tax, you're going to add every tax. Think about every fee and tax you pay. You pay taxes to be in business. You pay taxes to get a license plate on your cars. You have to pay for a driver's license. That house you think you own, don't pay property taxes. They'll sell it for a damn quarter if you owe them. It's what do you think the percentage? It's probably closer to 60% of the money you make goes to the imperial federal government of some sort.
You're talking about the selling the property at selling property for at the tax auction.
They will. There's stories of it for less than $100 all over this country.
Yeah, well, when I worked for the land surveyor, we had a customer that traveled all over South Carolina, and he would buy tax property, and of course, a lot of it we did surveying on it. The thing about it is, though, is he had his own little gimmick going. He would look at the auctions and say this house is worth $300,000, and they owe $3,000 on taxes. Um, he
Jim's
would go in there. He'd go in there and he'd throw down $8,000 bid on it. Now he's going to get 8%. He's going to get 8% on um, that money, whether they pay for it in a year or they because the way it works in South Carolina is if it's sold at taxes, it's held in trust for a year, and the owner has the opportunity to pay it back. Well, he turns around and what he does is he contacts the mortgage holder on it and says that he has acquired this property at a tax auction, and he will be selling that in 1 year on this date. He will be taking possession of it, and they can forget any more money. They're not getting any more money. He says, "I will rent it out," and in a few days, he's getting a phone call from the mortgage company saying, how do we address this situation? And he tells them send the whatever county he's in a check for this amount of money, and then they'll release it. And he does, and he's made a lot of money off of just that 8%, because whether it's 1 day or a year, it's still 8% money.
Jim McCarran back.
Yeah, I see it. Sorry. I need another monitor. I can't have too many. I've got like 7 tabs open here.
I just figure it's because you're getting old and you forget about us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They were sitting back there thinking about voting for Kevin McCarthy for speaker. That's what Jim and Terry were doing.
I don't really like not to be political, I don't want to see anybody leading any kind of party stuff that's either from either of the extreme coasts. Now, I do like Donald Trump, and I know he's from New York, but usually I don't really want a California person in the helm.
I'm going to say something for Democrats. If they'd have held out when that squad wanted to push out Nancy, and instead of letting Nancy run the thing, I mean, they
probably would have got more of their demands.
Now, it's diametrically opposed to my political beliefs, but if you really wanted what most Democrats believe in out there, Nancy wasn't the face of that. Actually, the squad was close to the face of what the new Democrats really want. They could have done the same thing here, but they didn't have the guts. That's why the Democrats are laughing. I wouldn't be laughing. You guys should have done the same thing when you had a problem with your speaker.
How many votes? What's the over and under on the number of votes that it's going to take to get a speaker? We're at 6 right now, I think.
218. Oh, you mean how many actual
Well,
votes?
McCarthy's got to get to 218, and he's had these 20 that are holding out.
And you ain't really going to get. I don't think you're going to get much over that 20. McCarthy's going to wind up being the speaker, but at least they're holding his feet to the fire, shake him up a little bit.
I am such a butthole that if I was head of the DNC, I would pick out 20 people out of my what do they call it? Anyway, out of the party, and say, you guys are going to vote for that fella.
See, I'm waiting.
They don't have to do that. They just don't have to go into session, because then it brings. I think I heard something yesterday. It brings the number of people down in session where it would take. You wouldn't have to get to 218. Then they could have like so many Democrats be not present or something like that.
And if you force a group of people, if the leadership forces a group of people to vote their way, that's when you step over that fine line from a democracy to a banana republic.
Well, and the other thing is, if you're a true Democrat, how do you go back to your constituents who voted you into that seat and say, "Oh yeah, but we're real good. We voted for McCarthy for Speaker of the House." For the visual of it, they're not going to do that.
But the disruption is going to cause inside of the Republican Party. That's the whole thing, because these 20 people are saying that they don't trust him.
I don't trust him. He's have you seen Gates' speech where Gates told him, he goes, you can't clear the swamp and put the chief alligator in charge and expect something different to happen. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
And and we're just
He
repeating
is
what
he's your Mitch McConnell of the other side. Honest, in the House side. I mean, they're just these swampy politicians that have been doing it forever.
And I would say this real quickly. I would agree. There was one of the representatives. I can't remember her name, but anyway,
Boebert probably.
No, it wasn't
Oh.
Boebert. She was a blonde. She's on the McCarthy side. But she said, and I agree with her. If you're going to do this, you should have started it a few months back. Don't start it on election day. They don't even have a candidate really picked out to run against them. You should have become better prepared if you were going to do this overthrow. And I agree with her.
That big chunky one was just trying to think about what's for lunch.
Yeah, no, she wasn't. This one's she's a slender woman, blonde.
Did you see
She
that
has
one?
a mole on her face.
Okay, shh. Okay, we're not going to talk about her mole. Okay, anyway.
This is the one that nominated me for the 6 or 7 times.
we're not fat shaming here. We're not fat shaming here.
That woman was bigger than me. What the hell? I want one of them. They can vote for the Democrats and go vote for McCarthy, get him in. Then they go back and give the old brother where issue is or issue ain't my constituency.
Yeah. But I think it would disrupt the Republican Party if they did that, because they know that these 20 people are going.
I would love to see somebody like Jim Jordan be the Speaker of the House. I mean, I really like him as his political views. He doesn't want it, but I do really like him.
And the other good thing is when you got a branch of government seized up, that means they can't go out and add new regulations. They can't be raising your taxes, and they can't be spending your money on stupid stuff. So as far as I'm concerned, if we got like a 6-month break from the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, I think that would be excellent. Even if it was, and I don't care if it's the Republicans in charge. If you just let the government just give us a break for like 6 months, you could probably turn the country around.
Yeah, and
they interviewed one. She was a Democrat, and her name is.
Were you watching CNN again, Tom?
No, I was watching ABC News because they were.
Oh, ABC. Okay.
Because I didn't have
the voice of reason.
Oh my God, who was the anchor? Mickey Mouse? Was Mickey Mouse the anchor?
The reason was I could turn the volume down and all I could see, but I could see what the vote count was. But anyway, this one lady, they interviewed her. She said, first of all, who wants this job? She said, you're on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and it's always your fault. Don't matter what party you're in, it's always your fault. More so than the president. And
kind of money you're making, you can, keep up with a whole lot of crap. For that kind of
okay, honey. Anyway, she was going on about it. She said there's something wrong with it. The African American fella, I think he's from Florida. That they were running.
Byron?
Who?
Byron Donaldson?
Yeah, they had him up yesterday. He in an interview with him, he said, I have at no time expressed interest in being, the Speaker of the House.
He did flop his vote. He was the first day he was voting for McCarthy, and then he switched it over to Jim Jordan.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna have to be someone who is okay. So like Steve Scalise is, he's not as swampy. He's some swampy, but he's not McCarthy. It's either McCarthy is going to give in to some of these demands. They're not asking for. They're asking for Jeffersonian back to. If you're not doing a good job, we have the right to recall you. With what three people can call it. They also want to bring up a bill on term limits. That's not too much to ask. And there's 2 or 3 other bills that they want to bring up. That's all they're asking. They're not asking for him to bow down and but he will not acquiesce. He will not.
Well, he moved his furniture into the Speaker's office, what was it, a day or 2 before the vote. I mean, it's kind of pretentious just to assume it was handed to him on a silver platter.
I mean, I'll never forgive him. How many times has he got to stab Trump in the back? Man, screw that guy.
He's a squatter. That's what the 20 have been calling him, a squatter, because he's moved his stuff into the Speaker of the House office. But you know what? I just find, and this is what the media keeps asking. Normally, when they go in there, it's a done deal. And what the hell has happened that everybody's waited to the last minute to do this?
Everybody should go watch Mark Dice. It really shows the true colors of who Hannity is. Um, I would cut off his neck just to shit down his throat. Like, Hannity's good.
Hannity. He's dissing the hand.
Oh boy.
Hannity. He hasn't been Hannitized.
Beard is just talking. He's not making any threats about anybody.
Yeah, that's not literally.
Yeah.
That's a figurative alliteration.
It's just,
What?
they were talking about that yesterday on both sides of the aisle. This is normally settled
Or is that yours?
like when at the time that one of the party takes office, it's usually decided within like a month of the election who's going to be Speaker of the House. And that's the reason Nancy never packed up her bags, because she knew she was going to be Speaker of the House.
Anissa, you could fix that. Anissa says her husband was Team Hannity and she was Team Boebert last night. Just close up shop. You got, 10, 12 kids? We know what he likes to do. You can convince him to be with Boebert.
Why? What did Hannity say last night? I haven't watched him for a while.
Just
Can join
berate
anytime.
about why they're why they're holding out, why they're not doing it. Just get on board and because he's a swamp creature just like the rest of them.
All he's got to say is yeah. We'll give you those things, and then just not do it.
What they're gonna do anyway.
I mean, he can just say it's not going to
I
happen.
can tell you what the whole problem started is the Republican swamp creatures stabbed a bunch of, because they didn't want a big majority, because they wanted to be able to control the House. They didn't want a bunch of MAGA Republicans in there, so they shot down their campaigns and they actively campaigned against Republicans. I mean, that's who we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who would rather have Democrats in than the Republicans of the MAGA side. And now we're expected to trust these idiots. If they'd have had a big, if the 40 seats would have happened like it should have happened, then you look at it and McCarthy's in, no problem. He gets an easy majority. But because they left it where it's so close, they only wanted a small majority. You've left yourself vulnerable to the people that are there, saying they're not gonna put up with your shit.
Yeah, follow the money. It's who can generate the most cash. And honestly, the Democrats have always been better at that. So that's why, I mean, there's Republicans, they want to say, oh, yeah, I'm conservative, but they also want the money. So, I mean, it's a hard, usually people will gravitate towards the money.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Unless Republicans learn to stuff ballots and ballot harvest, instead of standing on their principles about how that's no good, unless you go in and beat them at their own game, you've got to get in the office before you can change the rules. And so as long as they hold them off with all the cheating they're doing, you're gonna have to learn to play the game. If these courts are saying this is allowed, you're going to have to go at it.
One of the 20 is from the great state of South Carolina, and he is actually from the county that I grew up in. Ralph Norman.
Where do you who is the list of 20? Can you get? I think our dumbasses voted, the ones that represent North Alabama. I think they voted with the swamp.
But Ralph Norman is one of the 20, and my mom and dad always contributed to him because he was a businessman that also dealt with real estate that my dad did work for, but they always thought he was a pretty straightforward kind of guy. But
here are the 20 that voted against McCarthy. Let's go.
That's the 20 Republicans.
So you got to think about too, McCarthy. If he's a Republican from California, and we know California's voting system is just, they control every aspect of it. How bought and sold is he to continue to win re-election in California as a Republican? So Lee Zeldin, Donalds, Jim Jordan.
However, because I think it's
See,
less.
I think Jim Jordan would be good.
Oh, he'd be
Speaker.
great. He wants to be. He wants to be the head of the judicial committee.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
gives. If you watch any of the, the hearings on C-SPAN, he gives those people hell.
I think he'd run it real fair as Speaker of the House. I don't. He doesn't want it though.
No,
He
because
wants to head up those judicial investigations.
that's just a lot of damn headache.
There's a
But
lot of representative elects. There's a lot of brand new people that voted against him. Must be 6 or 7 of the people that voted against him, maybe 5 or 6, were all new elects.
No.
yeah, and they're not even actually official members of the House yet because they haven't been sworn in. It looks like Nancy would have done. Nancy would have did the swearing in, and then she would have vacated the position.
She
And
did. She did some swearing, but I don't think that's the same kind.
yeah, you know, I saw her on the news yesterday, and bless her heart, she looks. Which she must be 100 years old, but she looks terrible. I think this
They,
last few terms has just did a number on
well, they
her.
they stopped giving her the blood of children, and so now she's going to age.
It's those creepy drawn-on eyebrows she has. They look horrible.
Yeah, if you fix the eyebrows, she look great.
Well, she'd look better instead of having those 2 L's over her eyes. I mean, they're the most horrible drawn-on eyebrows ever.
She looks like you just opened up a sarcophagus.
I know. She's worth billions. You think she could do her eyebrows better?
It's
One of the
lizard
biggest
people.
problems is if you go look at the age of these representatives, there is a Democrat in Congress. The woman's 86 years old. Does she know her ass from a hole in the ground? I mean,
Wow.
there's 10 or 12 people that are over 80. How are we expecting them to know what's going on? They are bought and paid, and they vote how they're paid. They have
Yeah.
no idea what.
Yeah, there's
And that's the problem with the term limit bills is you got people on the other side, on the Republican side, that don't want to have term limits either because this is a huge cash cow
Yeah,
for
they're
them.
still generating wealth for their grandchildren and great grandchildren, so they don't want to give it up. I mean, they just want to keep generating wealth for their family. And good for them, but bad for the country.
Not good for them. They suck. I'm telling you, if there's some, if you had to go to Congress and if you were, every year, every other year, you were audited and your immediate family was audited, or close family, you'd solve a lot of this. I mean, I could put rules in effect in about 30 minutes to fix all this crap.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, for those branches for the 3 branches of government, they ought to have mandatory audits.
I mean, look at Trump's taxes. They put them out on right before the holiday. It was a big nothing burger. They didn't catch him doing anything. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Well, he knows. My dad got audited, and they keep auditing you for like 6-7 years. He just knew he was going to be audited. He wouldn't touch his taxes. He sent it right to the bookkeeper because he's like, I don't want any mistakes on this. And he would tell the bookkeeper, I can't have any mistakes because this is 100% going to get audited. And that's the same thing Trump's in. He knows he's going to get audited. He's going to make sure everything, he's got multiple accountants working on this, make sure when they do the audit, everything is okay. They weren't going to find anything.
Speaking of auditing, on a lighter note, do y'all know who Jeff Dunham is? He's the one that has Walter the puppet. He's
With the
ventriloquist.
puppets, yeah.
When he was 14 years old, he got audited by he got audited by the IRS because some of the things that he claimed, his father claimed that his business deductions was not they questioned. And he says now I look back at it and he said I was 14 years old. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And he said, but his dad had claimed like doll clothes as a business expense because he used them for his props, and which they ended up coming back and saying everything's fine. But I just thought that was funny that he was 14 years old. He was making enough money that IRS would, and this would have been what, in the 70s, that this child is trying to defraud the IRS for a few dollars.
It was because it was that time though. Because today, if the IRS saw deductions, a 14-year-old boy with a bunch of doll stuff and dress deductions, They wouldn't even raise an eyebrow.
But anyway, I just
If
thought
you-
that was, since he mentioned auditing, I just
If you've
thought I'd
not
throw that
seen
in there.
Dunham when he went over to Saudi Arabia and had Ahmed out doing in Saudi Arabia, that was, and then some of the interviews, he's like, I didn't know how that was going to go over, and he, all the people who we met talking about, oh no, we love Ahmed, you got to bring Ahmed, because
Yeah.
he was really considering not bringing him in the show,
And then where was it? The Philippines? It's one of the Pacific Basin countries, which is really highly Muslim. They were told by the government that not to bring him, not to mention him. And when he made the announcement in his concert, they booed. And but he brought Ahmed as Jacques, the French terrorist, which was Ahmed speaking French. But
Yeah, so the way Saudi got around it, I think maybe it was Fluffy. Fluffy was talking about his when they picked him up. He's like, we went out into the desert and he kept driving, and I kept asking the driver, oh, he loved the. He's like, why are we going out to the desert? He goes, because with most comedians that come here, if you say it in the city, we get arrested, so we go out in the desert, and they wreck these temporary tent things with thousands of people coming to see these comedians, but they don't do it.
when and Ahmed was in the when he was in Israel, Jeff brings Ahmed out, and Ahmed goes, "Oh my God, look at all the Jews! Where are we?" But the interview I was watching about Jeff Dunham, he was talking about that he can get away with a lot because people get to the point that they're not looking at as like Ahmed or Walter or Peanut or any of them as being puppets. They're looking at them like they're people, and they so he said, I can get away with a lot of stuff that some of the big comedians can't get away with because I didn't say it.
Yeah, his biography is. Mr. Sadie said his biography is very interesting. There's some specials on it that really show his early life. He was adopted, and the way he dealt with some social issues and social anxiety and stuff was, and then he took some pretty always carrying a puppet around, but he was so good at it.
Yeah.
So he really earned his everything he got. He definitely earned for sure.
She is
Yeah,
barking at the little dogs too.
He talked about he harassed it was a guy that owned a couple of car dealerships in town that had one of these, where they'd walk down in front of the car saying, "We've got this car for $49.95," that type of stuff. He just harassed him until he finally said, the car dealer said, "Fine, show me what you got." And he apparently did those commercials for that guy for years.
So I just got a message on eBay, on Amazon. An Amazon customer just sent me a message. You got to hear this. Let me bring it back up. This is people are so irritatingly stupid. Here, all messages. Sorry, you have to go to like 3 clicks. Please deliver between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. only, as you will not have access to the delivery hub outside these hours. If you deliver after these times, you must contact the buyer directly at whatever to arrange for a collection. They act like I'm gonna get in my car and drive that shit down there.
Now, is that from the buyer to you?
It must have been a drop shipper because that's the only, you know what I mean? The way they're talking, they are not the.
They probably just think they're dealing with Amazon. Don't realize you got a regular third-party seller in there. I don't know.
It's going to an apartment. Okay, so it says an apartment in Atlanta, but it also says it's a commercial address, which is weird.
This is over commercial apartments.
Oh, it's a commercial
Over
apartment.
a $7.61 item too, by the way.
Yeah,
I knew some movie stars who worked in
red light apartment.
Oh yeah, that would be a great video. Me driving to Atlanta to deliver that to him. Can you
Well, that's only,
imagine
what, about 2 hours away?
3.
3?
And I'm like, look at all the gas. I mean, I can make a video and it would go crazy. They'd bitch about the gas, bro. What I paid in gas.
Oh, hey, off topic. Big surprise. I got something off topic. I am an acquaintance. I wouldn't say we're friends, but we knew each other since second grade. From second grade all the way through when I graduated high school. And I mean, I went to a small Catholic school, so you knew everybody. Amy, what is it, Wainscott?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's what Amy Wainscott, who used to be Amy Kozleric, is the head of the planning thing or whatever, and has been for some time for the Rose Bowl parade. And I guess because Northam Pines, my high school's band, played for the Rose Bowl at the Rose Bowl parade, they made a big deal. I mean, I guess she gave a speech and stuff.
Oh yeah,
so.
because she's alumni. Oh, and
So if you see this
here's
Amy
a side-
Wainscott, I knew her.
and she hates Jim's guts.
Yeah, we hate each other, but I do know her. So
So
it's
why,
one of my.
why does she hate you, Jim? Either you spurn her,
You know,
or...
me and Tara were talking about this morning because she knows some of these people that acquaintances or whatever that she just doesn't get along with. She's like, I have nothing against them, but I just don't know why. For whatever reason, I mean, we're like water and oil from second grade. We just never cared for each other. I'd see her walking. We would like, you know what I mean. If you see that person coming on the sidewalk, you'd walk to the other. Either one of you would walk to the other side of the street. It's one of those
can't be your
things.
charming personality. So what else could it
Must
be?
be. My other claim to fame is I was born at Swedish Covenant Hospital in Chicago. So was what's his
George
face?
Harrison?
No, the guy for
Han Solo.
no Han Solo. What's
George Harrison was born in England, wasn't he?
yeah, George Harrison.
Han Solo. What the hell is Han
Oh
Solo?
my God! Now you got me forgot his name.
We have Alzheimer's, so we can't remember.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison. I knew it had an H in
So
it.
Harrison Ford and I were born in the same hospital in Chicago.
Yeah, she was already in California for the wet T-shirt contest. Jim is like
What?
35 years old, touching girls that not all of them could card, so they were 18 to 22-year-old boobs.
Not really. That's not correct.
That's not correct. Oh, you have some old ones in there?
No.
Oh,
The chat says
We found out they were some were 17.
oh.
Well, we didn't know they were camp counselors. We thought they were in college. They had to be of age, but
Hey, the chat-
it was a
the
mistake.
chat-
Anyway, could have made.
the chat is voting another ex-girlfriend story. It's a pump and dump. He avoided her wet t-shirts. He knocked out her parents' mailbox.
No jelly
he
shots in the
tightened
belly
wheel.
button.
No, man. This chick is uptight. This would not be a wet t-shirt contest kind of person. We were in Catholic school, and I was pretty sure she was going to be going into the convent.
Dang.
Guys, I gotta
She's
go.
probably gonna
My
hear you
brother's
talking about
coming
her
for
on
a
YouTube.
visit
She
today,
already
so-
hates me. How could she hate me more?
Hold on a minute. Todd's got to go.
Yeah, I gotta go. Gwen needs help
Uh-oh.
straightening the house. My brother's coming for a visit today.
If
Yeah, he's
you're
got to
going
clean up
mess
the mess
with
he made in the dining room.
if you're going to mess with the old hags at the store, just let us know. We can take.
Bye.
Bye, Todd.
Have a good day, Todd. You doing it tomorrow?
Sure. I'm doing. I go poop every morning. Yep.
Okay. I'm glad
I'm
you're
doing it
regular.
tomorrow.
Todd's schedule: poop, coffee, do the morning show.
There you go.
That's right. But
Bye.
bye. Jim, you need to hand me one of those books, honey. Roberta got this for my father-in-law, and it's yes, it's story worth. And what it does is I don't know how it does it.
Every week they send a different question.
Okay.
They answer the question.
I should let her just tell you, but every week they send a different question to the person you're doing it for, and then they answer the question, and it's got like, you know, talk about your favorite cars and why, and he's filled all of this stuff out, and there's
they made it
photographs
into a
and
book.
whatnot. Jim, you need to. I'm gonna send the link to you. Tara, you need to get Jim signed up on this thing because it would be a bestseller.
Some of Jim's stories should die with Jim. I'm sorry. I mean, if he like tried to run for a government office, they could really dig up this shit on him. Like, oh, did you know he
Not a
was
chance.
touching 17-year-old girls' boobs? Oh, what?
At
No.
his age though, his memory's going to be dying shortly anyway, so we're good.
It's already
Well,
there.
That's the reason. My father-in-law's. How old is Robert? How old is your daddy?
81.
He's 81, and he's all about all that kind of stuff. But anyway, You need to do that, and I bet you could sell 1,000,000 copies because at least the people that would on these shows with this that know Jim would they would buy it just to read some of the stories that Jim has come up with.
Hey, wait a minute. Now, some of this stuff there's not a statute of limitations on.
Yeah, because I mean, you like Jim's stories. You should see. I've heard a lot of the unedited, not for public stories.
So there's not a statute of limitations on anything. Have y'all seen what someone was it in California or wherever they're doing a temporary rollback on the statute of limitations on whatever, and so now they're bringing charges against people from 30, 40 years ago. Who was
Really?
it? It was a charge of, I think it was a charge of date rape or something. Who they get? Somebody in the chat tell me who that was. I know y'all.
Well, I do know that they just related to that the Romeo and Juliet from the late 1960s. The two teenagers who were in the movie because they had to do a nude scene or whatever.
Yeah,
They're suing the studio or whatever for making them do the movie.
Huh.
but they were like,
I'm amazed there's no statute of limitations for that. I mean, you couldn't have brought that up 10 years after the movie.
but they were like in the 60s, they just did
Yeah. God knows what was it? Blue Lagoon with
Brookfield.
Brooke Shields.
Oh.
And then there was another one that she did.
That was kind of that. I will say that was a creepy movie. In a
Hey,
way.
they made a remake of that for porno.
Really?
It was called Spoo Lagoon.
Ew.
Listen,
True story.
let me tell you what. Roberta gets in these moods where she wants to say, "Hey, these are the movies that are available on pay-per-view," and it's stuff like The Hills Have Thighs, all these.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And it's amazing, and those are always in the top 20 videos that's been rented. But
Moon Raider,
Yeah, it was it's
Romancing the Bone.
yeah.
so it's Steven Tyler of Aerosmith is the one who's been charged in the last 2 or 3 days of the statute of limitations. I knew it was somebody famous
Oh, really?
Wow.
And they're saying he raped somebody or sexually assaulted someone?
because he had a relationship with him. I think she was like 17 at the time or whatever that. So now they're coming trying to sue him for it.
Well, he's a flaming liberal.
Well, it comes back. You got to have your 5 minutes of fame.
And I thought he's protected class because he looks like somebody's grandma right now. If you ever see him, he looks. And he should be a trans whatever, a trans rocker because he looks like a woman.
Yeah.
Dude
Dude looks like a lady.
So what happened was he had a lady's mother, Julia Holcomb, granted guardianship over her when she was 16, and so he lived. The 16-year-old lived with him in 1973, and
Oh no!
so that's where the
Yikes! Sounds like Woody Allen.
No, you're not going back there.
Tyler says he almost took a teen bride. Her parents fell in love with me, signed the paperwork to have custody, so I wouldn't get arrested if I took her out of state and took her on tour with me.
Mm.
And she's saying it ruined my life.
Oh boy.
50, what is it, 40? This is 48 years later, 49 years later.
Next thing you know, they'll be charging old Elvis Presley, and he's in the grave.
Well, people have just got to tighten up on what they allow their kids to do because there's a lot of these people. Have you? What's the dance? Is it Dance Moms? There's a reality show, or was a reality show. Well, they're on the hit list now because all those little girls are dressed like little sluts, and there's no morals.
We had that Cutie Pie show. Was it Cutie Pie that was on
I think it was
Netflix?
called Cuties.
Oh, Cuties?
Yeah.
I never watched it, but Jim's like
was
watched 10
gross.
minutes of it. He goes, it's gross.
Yeah, it's messed up. There's no nudity, but they're doing like upskirt shots on like 11-year-old girls or whatever. It's like I'm like, this is messed up. I mean, because the camera's always like way low, so it's looking up, like up the dresses and stuff. I'm like, this is obviously deliberate and supposed to be like tantalizing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's sick. I don't know why Netflix fought. That's one I think Netflix should have just said, screw it, let's take it down. I mean, I agree with free speech, but not when it comes to, pornography or pedophilia or whatever. That's screwed up.
I loved
Yeah.
Honey Boo Boo too, and I stuck with it right through all the Mama June shows too.
A lot of people think in the past Alabama is one of the crazy states, but my in-laws, they had my mother-in-law was too young to get married in the state of Alabama. They had to go over to Mississippi to get married. So anything you think about Alabama, Mississippi is 10 times worse. They got married in Iuka, Mississippi. That's the first town over out of North Alabama. Is where they had Mississippi would let you get married as a 14-year-old.
A comedian said, "Thank God for Mississippi," and there's like a like sporadic applause. He goes, "Because that's a state that makes Alabama look good."
Anybody says anything about Alabama, I go, you obviously don't know anything about Mississippi.
We bought that pickup truck in Jackson, Mississippi, and we're from Wisconsin at the time, and I've been through other states, but that's the first time I ever went to Mississippi. It was like a whole different world there. I don't even know how to exactly describe it.
Ding, 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 ding,
It was like, let me tell you, it was like the old South.
Yeah,
I mean,
the old
the
South.
complete picture of the old South,
Anyway,
good and bad.
It's
So,
still that way because where Alabama has a lot.
Mississippi's a different world.
Alabama has a lot of poor towns and stuff at the bottom corner. That's the entire state of Mississippi.
Well, listen, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to go see some people, do some things. Y'all,
Do
we
some
need
people,
we
see
need to
some
do this at
things.
night. We need to have these conversations at night.
Oh,
not
I'm having a show tonight. I'm going to answer because I don't. We do so many morning shows. I don't think we see everybody. So and answering questions from new people. So
well, that's good
There you
because we get talking and
Let me go ahead.
at least the people we still got people in the audience, so they must find it funny. But we need to do some at night, so we don't have
Lag,
to worry about running and earning and living and whatnot.
take a nap, Lag, so you can disrupt my chat tonight.
Is Lag in here?
And I didn't see him.
Oh,
Yeah,
He-
he's
He
in
was
here.
here earlier.
hey,
I
how
feel-
old is Lag?
A few minutes ago,
Oh.
he said he was zoning out, so he's still here.
The consensus is he's either a 10-year-old boy or a 46-year-old mother of 3 in Philadelphia. We don't know.
Okay.
So
I
anyway,
just want to say, 57 is not old.
Oh boy.
Fact.
yeah, it's not. When you get to be 65, then you really think 57 is young.
Yeah.
But anyway,
When
I
people
gotta
say
get
I'm
out of
turning
here.
50,
I gotta
I'm like,
go
oh
to
my
an
God, what I
appointment.
wouldn't do to be 50 again.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in. Thank y'all for all coming into the chat. Y'all are great. Y'all are so funny. And y'all need to venture out into the camera portion of it at sometime in the near future, because y'all would really add something to the show, whoever's having it. Todd, Scott, you're having one tonight. What time?
It's either 7 or 8 Central. I don't know which.
Okay, so that's 8 or 9 real time. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Thanks for coming in again. Bye-bye.
Bye.